Pilot of rescue flight for pets impacted by hurricanes adopts kitten after finding love at 30,000 feet. A Southwest captain made a new friend in Kitten Avery while flying 145 shelter animals affected by Hurricane Milton and Hurricane Helene to the Midwest. On Oct. 12 Southwest pilot Matthew Brebish flew a transport of rescue pets from areas impacted by Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton. Captain Prebish decided to adopt one of his over 145 rescue animal passengers, a kitten named Avery. The other shelter pets on the rescue flight are now available for adoption through 8 different Midwest animal shelters. After rescuing shelter pets affected by Hurricane Milton and Hurricane Helene last week, one pilot decided to take his rescue efforts even further by giving one of his passengers a new home. On Oct. 12, Greater Good Charities partnered with Southwest Airlines and Lucky Dog Animal Rescue to transport over 145 animals from South Carolina to the Midwest to find homes through shelters not impacted by the recent hurricanes. The animals, relocated from shelters in Tennessee and Florida, were transferred to Lucky Dog's South Carolina Rescue Campus in Florence, SC, before taking the rescue flight to Milwaukee Mitchell International Airport in Wisconsin. The partnership also delivered humanitarian supplies to North Carolina communities recovering from Hurricane Helene. Since the beginning, we've been supporting the people and pets devastated by these catastrophic hurricanes, Liz Baker, the CEO of Greater Good Charities, said in a statement. This donation of humanitarian supplies and our emergency shelter pet airlift are part of our efforts to bring relief to the hardest hit communities. One of the fortunate pets picked up by the rescue flight found a home before the plane landed, thanks to Southwest Captain Matthew Prebish, the flight's pilot. It was love at 30,000 feet. I don't think Captain Matt was expecting to adopt a hurricane evacuee from Tennessee when he agreed to fly this amazingly special flight. But some things are meant to be. Lucky Dog CEO Mira A. Harwitz said in a statement to People. Avery the kitten is definitely a lucky cat and was right at home with his new dad in the cockpit once we landed and parked. Lucky Dog Animal Rescue is extremely proud to have helped make this happy ending possible. According to news releases from both the non-profit and Southwest Airlines, over 150 pets were transported to Milwaukee Mitchell International Airport on Oct. 12 before they were sent to 8 shelters in the Midwest. Those shelters included Wisconsin's Humane Animal Welfare Society, Elmbrook Humane Society, the Washington County Society, the Humane Society of Jefferson County, the Dane County Humane Society, Eau Claire Community Humane Association, Greene County Humane Society, and Illinois One Tail at a Time. Ahead of the trip, a local licensed veterinarian from Banfield Pet Hospital examined the pets and provided necessary health certificates. A lead veterinarian from the Humane Animal Welfare Society accompanied by the dozens of animals on the flight. After Hurricane Helene hit, we knew we needed to provide some relief to the shelters in impacted areas. Our rescue campus in Florence was perfectly situated to do that, Harwood said. Of the 38 animals we evacuated from Florida, 20 will be on this life-saving flight, as well as an additional 32 dogs and 93 cats who have spent the last 3 days in our care after being safely evacuated from the mountains of Isterstespadisi, Horowitz added. We are truly grateful to Southwest Airlines for making this flight possible because it gives breathing room to shelters dealing with unprecedented numbers of animals displaced by the storm who need care until they can be reunited with their owners. As previously reported, Hurricane Milton made landfall near Siesta Key, Florida on October 9. At least 16 people died as a result of the storm. Additionally, the death toll for Hurricane Helene is over 220 individuals per officials and news outlets.
This is an unprecedented storm, and it's causing us to have an unprecedented response.
This is the city of Asheville in the western mountains of North Carolina, 2,000 feet above sea level and hundreds of miles away from the nearest coastline. But such was the force of Hurricane Helene that nowhere in its path was safe.
We are surging search and rescue teams to help rescue people who are still stranded but can't communicate because cell phone service is down.
As many as 600 people are still on the missing list as search teams fan out across the state, navigating the worst flooding to hit the region in a century, with thousands of downed trees, power and mobile outages, and hundreds of closed roads.
It's undescribable. I don't know, it just was covered in litter and trees and mud, and it's stinky, and it was all the way up the street up here. It just looked like the bottom of a river.
And this is the surface of Lake Lure, an hour below the mountains of Asheville, now an apocalyptic stew of rubble and debris after Helene ripped through the state, unleashing torrential downpours and catastrophic mudslides, killing 47 in North Carolina alone so far, and more than 115 in total since last Thursday. That's when Helene first made landfall on Florida's Gulf Coast as the most powerful hurricane, a Category 4, ever to hit the so-called Big Bend region, before tearing northeast through Georgia, the Carolinas and Tennessee. Homes were swept away in the storm that had been a Category 1 just the day before. But in a now all too familiar tale, Helene picked up massive amounts of energy from the unusually warm Gulf waters, exacerbated, scientists say, by climate change. The result was a 350-mile wide, devastating storm with wind speeds up to 140 miles an hour at their peak.
And have you reached out to President Biden about federal relief efforts?
No, I haven't reached out to him. No, I think he's sleeping right now, actually.
The hurricane collided with presidential politics too, with Donald Trump arriving in Georgia this afternoon, ostensibly to survey the damage and use the hurricane response to attack Joe Biden, who had, in fact, returned to the White House earlier than planned on Sunday and had already addressed the devastation in earlier remarks.
I've directed my team to provide every available resource as fast as possible to your communities to rescue, recover, and to begin rebuilding.
Biden says he plans to visit storm-ravaged areas this week as Vice President Kamala Harris cut short a campaign trip in Nevada to return to Washington, D.C. to be briefed on the crisis. This is the second powerful hurricane to hit parts of America in just over 2 months. And many predict scenes of devastation, not just on the coast, but deep into the country, could become the norm as rising temperatures from human-induced climate